Conscious Collaboration brings together entrepreneurs, changemakers, and thought leaders. We aim to highlight the people that embody the idea of aligned mind, body, and business. Each week, we share, discuss, and learn from the various experiences and ideas of our guest experts. Through our discovery, we find a path to an aligned mind, body, and business.
What up, guys? I'm Lisa.
And I'm Emily, and together we are the most conscious collaboration podcast.
Just the two of us today. Collaboration.
Just the two of us and our AI companion.
Yes, I know.
Lest we forget, we're experimenting a little bit.
If it gets out of line, let me know and I'll disable it.
Ooh.
It sounds like I'm killing it.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Look at us, getting all techie as entrepreneurs.
Look at us. Yeah, no, I'm still quite resistant to the AI stuff in a lot of ways. I saw a meme recently that was people talking about their old person trait.
Oh, yeah.
And my old person trait is I hate like AI customer service bots. Like my issue is 100% of the time not solvable by one of the AI bots, and it just increases the amount of time that it takes to get to someone who can help me, and I don't like it.
And it increases the rate of your anger before you talk to an actual person, which is unfortunate for that poor person.
Right. And they always give it a goofy name, like, you know,
like Jane.
Jane.
Like, do you have a question for Jane?
Jane is my middle name. I'm not going to hate on that. Jane with a Y.
My
mom wanted me to have a loop in every part of my signature, so she put a Y.
Pretty. Yeah, I like the name Jane, but I wonder why all the Janes now are associated with AI as a result.
Are they? Is that a common AI name?
Jane. Yeah, there is like
plain Jane.
There's a lot of Janes in the AI. Auto. I don't know. I kind of like them, but the AI bots that come on and can Jane help you with this kind of thing, and they even give her like a friendly looking picture that looks like a real person, and she usually has glasses on because that means you're smarter.
Okay, right. Yeah. Glasses do make you smarter. Fact. Yeah. Science.
Science. 100% of the time.
Yes. 60% of the time it works every time.
Yes. Talking about resistance.
Yes. Good segue into our topic today. We've been having some more organic conversations recently around social media and all the different dynamics around using social media, in particular for business. One of them that I find interesting is that it's far more, although I have separate accounts, Instagram specifically, that's kind of where I focus the most of my energy, Instagram and Facebook to a little bit lesser degree. But so I have separate Instagram pages for my personal, for the studio, and for Iron Yogi Fitness. We also have one for this podcast. But I noticed that by far I get the most interaction and the most quality interaction on my personal page. So I use my personal page, which is still set up as a business page, to kind of help accelerate the business pages, which is one interesting dynamic of things. So then there's always this kind of balance between a blend of sharing personal stuff and sharing business stuff, and where is that line, and does there need to be a line? Because a lot of it, thankfully I have a business that is very entangled in my personal lifestyle, right? So it all kind of goes together, but that's definitely a consideration there. And you use your personal, I mean, you've kind of got your personal and your business are kind of the same account now, right?
Well, no, I still have my business accounts on all the different things, including
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn. But my personal does get the more quote unquote followers. So I have
Mm-hmm.
the public facing stuff that I put on my personal pages. Not everything is public, but the things that are gets more engagement from me as a person. And while you were talking, I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
It's as we were talking about the generation that our daughter's growing up in, it's, they see everybody as an influencer. And I think
Mm-hmm.
our generation, the, Gen X, Xennials, and Millennials, I think a lot of us fall into an unintentional, um, y- you know, um, in that regard. I don't think we want to necessarily, like, we still have that resistance in mixing our personal lives with our public lives. So we're very much unintentional influencers in that way. That's what I feel when I'm talking to people in any of my business consults. There seems to be a lot of that hesitation and mistrust, and we're always constantly filtering how much does the public need to know about my children, where I live, so on and so forth.
For
Even
sure.
though it's probably I've seen on TikTok and Instagram, well, on TikTok by way of Instagram, but there's people that can look up your photos that you share that you think are very untrackable, and they can find out where exactly that photo is and find out where you are just by
Well,
a photo.
I don't post anything on the internet believing that it's untrackable.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
all
know
trackable.
all the ins and outs out of it, but
Yeah.
I know better than to believe that, so it's like, I do kind of pause to think, because I share Olivia, my daughter,
Hmm.
pretty frequently, and she, to be fair, she loves the camera. Well, okay, not all the time, and of
Yeah.
course, when she doesn't want to be on camera, of course, I honor that type of thing. But yeah, it's definitely it gives me more pause when we're talking about our kids and our daughters in particular, just because of, now I think it's human nature to have, just before we had social media, it was what, like Tiger Beat and like
Right.
Cosmo magazine, 17 magazine, whatever. We have this tendency towards admiring people, admiring celebrities, all to varying degrees, of course. I wasn't necessarily like at concerts, like screaming and fainting or anything like that, but there was
No.
definitely
Mhm.
people that when I was growing up, I admired in different ways. So that's definitely understandable. But just looking at social media as a tool, right? It can be used for really good and helpful and positively influential things, but it's way too easy, especially if we're letting our kids kind of, spend an inordinate amount of time on it, to get into the comparisonitis game. And then especially when you're talking about little girls and just all the dynamics there, um, we're working against a lot in terms of making sure that our daughters know um, to separate what they're seeing on social media from real life, from their value. You know what I mean? That likes and subscribes and follows do not in any way correspond with your value as a person. Me and you were talking about, I don't think influencer is altogether a bad thing, although we've kind of, we take the bad end of that spectrum, and it kind of gives a bad taste to the word altogether. But me and you were talking about, some of the people that we'll see our daughters watching on YouTube, and I just try to make it evident not to make her feel bad for watching certain things, because she'll watch other things that I think are pretty good quality. But when I'm seeing these influencer kids that she's watching, and all they do is just spend a bunch of money to do stupid pranks or challenges or whatever dumb shit thing, that they're doing on the internet now, I just try to have the conversation like, okay, well, what do you think the value of this is? Like, do you think that they're helping anybody? Do you think that they're showing any kind of talent here? And just kind of try to keep the conversation open as far as like what the real value of things on the internet are.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the first thing I think of is in that vein is a whole lot of unboxing. Like, look at all this free stuff I got from someone just for being on the internet, or just because I'm cute, or just because I'm pretty. So it's a lot of that, popularity through vanity type of display. And I think as business owners, or at least to me, before I was a business owner, I was very minimally on social media. I was very private. I was very anti sharing pictures of my children before they could speak and give consent and that type of thing. Like, I was very controlling, maybe too much controlling at the time, of what I put out in social media. And when I became a business owner, I realized, oh, shoot, I actually really have to, if I don't put myself out there, no one's going to find me, especially since my brand is so niche, and there needs to be information about me out there. So I took a big leap, and it was really, for me, being a very private person, had to be very much out there in terms of putting bios and stories and speaking engagements. And it was a big hurdle. And I think that's a common struggle for business owners. Yeah, it's not natural for a lot of us to do those social media stories. I see a lot of coaches, social media coaches, and I've had quite a few marketing coaches, social media coaches. And I'm just not one of those people that feels comfortable doing like dances or
No.
pointing at words in the sky, or, that's just not my style.
Right.
I'm not saying that because it works and I'll watch them, but it just doesn't feel like me. So I'm just not going to
Right.
do.
Well, and I mean, I think that's the more important element that you just hit on right there is it authentic to you? I don't think that being on a trend is in any way more important than being authentic, because you can tell. And I'm not interested in people doing dances just to do it. Like, if you've made some genuinely funny content, I value that, right? Or genuinely educational content. But on that, and you know what, if you feel authentic and you can find a way to work that in, to do the dances, cool. Like, no hate to you whatsoever. But I think that, and I definitely have been in that place in the earlier years of like feeling like resistant to posting on social media, in particular about my business, because like you don't want to be annoying, and you're kind of like, oh, who cares, about what I'm doing, this and that. But I've definitely grown to evolve over the years to really look at the algorithm and the trends and things, not as, I mean, I really take whatever the trends are with a grain of salt. I think anything that you are presented as far as like, okay, this is what's working on social media right now, is really just an opportunity to leverage that in your own way to move your business forward. And that means that, like, I've never done a dance, I've never pointed at things and whatever, that whole thing. What I have taken advantage of for sure is a more vanity aspect of things. But I try to be cognizant of the proportion of that kind of stuff to, educational content. And most of the time, I'm utilizing this vanity stuff to get the attention in the first place. Because what I am a big believer of now is that, you know, you do what you got to do within reason to get the eyeballs on you. Okay. Like we were talking about the other day, I noticed a marked, like probably over half, double, whatever, difference when in my stories specifically. And it must be just because, you know, on Facebook, you can see the thumbnails of the stories.
Yeah.
If I post any type of, just, you know, it doesn't have to be anything overtly sexual or whatever, but just any type of like mirror selfie, little flex in the mirror, definitely like a bikini shot or whatever. If I put something like that first, I will get exponentially more eyes on whatever comes after that. So, and same thing with like text, right? Or hooks, titles. One of my favorite podcasts, right? Mind Pump is a fantastic example. They will use what you could kind of consider to be clickbaity titles, right? But once you get in and you start listening to the content, it's solid gold. So I think, you know, I have no ethical issues anymore, we'll say, with using these kind of tactics, I guess, to just leverage the attention in the first place, and then provide the real content from there.
Yeah.
Because if you rely solely on the vanity stuff, right, if that's your core content, then you've boxed yourself into having to look like that forever. You know,
I
on
mean,
your worst
I
days, on your
imagine
best days.
I don't have a lot of selfies or images of me because maybe a little bit here and there, like profile updates and that type of thing. But you know, rather I have spaces or you know, I really just I love a lot of our content in the conscious collaboration. Like I use that multiple times because it's just so much similar to my other brands. But I find that the things that I have seen go viral for me have nothing to do with um thank God a profile photo of me or anything of that nature. It's because like the audio, just I happen to pick an audio that bumped up on trend. And it wasn't even like my best, it wasn't even like a best demonstration like of quality. It was a lot of times it's what the AI system tells me, hey, you should use this as a story or a reel, or hey, you should run this as an ad. I'm like, okay. And like, I'll just use that, even if it's not my favorite thing, because I'm like, I guess it favors this for whatever reason. And those are the
If it's
things
suggesting it.
yeah, if it suggests it and if it's putting a music track to it or something, I'm like, cool. Doesn't necessarily make sense to me, but 9 times out of 10, that's a thing that you know, performs better. But I think the most meaningful DMs I get from people, or the most business directed DMs I get from people, are um, for me. And I'm not in a, you know, I'm not a yogi. I don't do a lot of stuff with my yoga practice or strength training or anything of that nature. But a lot of what people connect to me with is the words, and they can see themselves in my content. So they feel directly spoken to, and they can recognize themselves as like, oh, you really see me where I'm at, and I want to talk to you about it. So my DMs are actually very good and engaging. It's not up in the 700s all the time of people that are commenting or liking or whatever, but it's highly, you know, it's my people. But it's just
Well, and
less.
that's the thing too, quality over quantity, in terms of being a business owner. You know, yeah, it's a numbers game to a certain degree. Of course, the more eyes you can have on you, the better chance you've got to, bring people deeper into your content. But it's also the more quality eyes.
Yeah.
It is not superior to have 100,000 followers, right, who only 0.5% actually, engage with your stuff, or may actually engage with your business at
Or
some
they may
point,
be
versus to
bots.
have,
Like,
right, versus
yeah.
to have a couple thousand followers, of whom, or even 1,000 followers, or whatever it is, of whom a great percentage of them are engaged to your content. So numbers game to a degree, but I bet you find too, with a lot of these, like I know it's a little different on YouTube, but with a lot of these like super high following influencers, they really haven't figured out how to successfully monetize it in a meaningful way. So it's just, like, you got to figure out how to leverage the thirst trap if you're going to use the thirst trap. And you're right. Like, the businesses that I'm in are more visual in nature, I think, at least like human body in terms of that. So that's kind of an advantage for me, the way I see it. But yeah, it's figuring out how to use what is there, instead of, because you can easily just go the other way with that resistance and be like, I hate it. It's too vain. I'm not a narcissist. I'm not doing it, and then, and of course, it's still possible to run a very successful business without utilizing social media. But if you are gonna, for the vast majority of us, I think it can be a really helpful tool. And so, if you are going to use it, then you might as well, you say learn. I want to say learn how to play the game, but that's, you can still be authentic with it. Learn how to
Yeah.
play the game in your way. Learn how to use it's just being resourceful is really all that is. It's being resourceful, being innovative, using what is there, using what we know about human behavior to leverage this tool, to get some additional eyes on your content, and then put out really good content, besides whatever you're using to get people's attention. Balance that out with some really good and helpful and educational content, and connecting with the people who bother to engage with you. And you're really looking at a different environment.
Yeah, I mean, it's in small business circles, and I don't know who coined it, and we've said it before, but people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And if there's no real resource for them to get into depth and know if they know you and ever on any level at all, it's to your benefit to start thinking about ways, if you're not comfortable with getting out there on social media, how else do you reach people so they can get to know you and like you and trust you? For me, it's really important that I put just enough information out there so people know who I am, especially if they're letting me into intimate parts of their lives. And so
Exactly.
they have to get a sense of my energy. Are they going to let me in their home, or, in person or virtually, to know them on a deeper energetic level? It's a big leap if I'm just a surface level, content page without the videos behind it, and me talking, and
Yep.
knowing those client stories. And I think, back to that point, um, the client stories are really great to put out there in some way. And
Yeah.
social media lets you do that. And then Google pages, Google My Business, and Yelp and that type of stuff is really good. Um, but, more importantly, not just my energy, but also, can they relate to my other clientele? And is that is that someone they would be, the like-minded people stick together type of thing. But yeah, it's interesting. I think it's shifting. And like you said, it's good to have that awareness because trends will shift. And, even I know you have a big resistance to AI, but the more we resist something, maybe the more we should try to understand it or play around with it. Emily,
Maybe.
just suggesting. Because
Maybe.
I had a big resistance to a lot of these things. I'm like, but I want to figure it out because I know a lot of people, at least in the design industry, have a big awareness of AI. Like first everyone feared it, and then they were like, AI can't get, they put a chair in a fireplace. So AI doesn't understand environments the way humans do, but it's become a great place to springboard ideas or to develop ideas or to have, aspirational images to show people. It's not necessarily going to complete a project for anybody or replace any of the designers in that realm. But my fear has gone because I took the time to take the courses and to learn with people like, okay, like I got enough of a handle on it that I can use it as a tool, just like the resistance to the social media where I was like super private. Like I just, as it's a hard hurdle as a business owner, especially when you start as a solopreneur. If you're just someone that doesn't like to have any focus on them. Like I just never
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
like to stand up in front of a room and do speeches and talking, before becoming a business owner. And now I'm like, that's just what I do. I'm used to
Part of the
walking
deal,
into,
though.
I'm
Yeah.
walk into a room and talk for a long time. And, so I understand the resistance of the other business owners that I meet. And they're like, I just doesn't feel like me. I don't want to put it out there. But to your point, there is a version. You don't have to follow what other people are doing,
No.
but play around and find out what it is that gets enough of you and your business out there so that people can build that trust or to have that curiosity, and then continue that conversation.
Imperfect action is something that with NCI, who I've been involved with this year,
Mhm.
hammers over and over and over again, and it echoes what I've seen, like Gary Vee saying for
Mhm.
years, like, who cares? Just put out content. Even your followers are only going to see like a very small
Yeah.
percentage of what you're putting out anyway. So, especially if there's something, that you're really trying to get across, like, repetition is necessary. You're going to need to feel almost annoying, but it's not like the other perspective is not the same.
Right.
So just put content out there and you just never know. Imperfect action.
Mhm.
And if it doesn't work, who cares?
Yeah, well, I
Who
think of it
cares?
as like the content are just little impressions of
Hmm.
energetic impressions of you all over the place, from YouTube to podcast to social media to wherever, books or whatever, publications, articles, all these little impressions, they might not be visible in the year that you do them.
Hmm.
But say there's a time when you need to take a 2-week vacation. And I've had this happen before. Like I'll be gone from work for like 10 days thinking, oh, well, just, the business is going to be very slow during that time. But for whatever reason, all those little micro impressions, the videos start popping off, and people, once they find something they like, will rabbit hole down it. Like, oh, I really like
Oh
this.
yeah. I mean,
And it
you
does all the
do
work
you do
for
it, I do
you.
it, right? Like when we're
Yeah.
interested, especially in a service, individual based transaction, if I'm researching somebody or a business, I pretty much go to it used to be you go to their website first. Now I go to
Mhm.
Instagram first because it's the most bite size and kind of
Mhm.
easily visually organized place to like really learn what somebody's about. So even if you don't have, and you know, I'm not sitting there looking at how many likes is on each post unless I'm, you know, actively just trying to figure out, you know, what their social media is doing. But that's not the important part. The important part is what is the content.
And the variety of the placement of content. If you have it all housed in one place, inevitably that's going to probably get hacked or stolen or could go away one day.
Well, we definitely have to have, you know, our owned media outside of social media. You know, keeping those email lists intact and all of those things. Because you kind of have to assume that social media could just, you know,
everything
blow everything
has a
up
cycle and ends
at any point.
Yeah, exactly. Because I see that time and time again. I'm like, why is this a business I really know? But it's like their page just started. And then I realize, oh, they've been hacked. They lost all of their content, and they didn't have a website. So now they're totally rebuilding. And I'm like, you know, I'm very old school, so I'll still keep my websites and everything. But that is the thing that happens, that people rely on one place. You know, I'll just keep my Instagram, Facebook operating. That's where I run all my ads, and it gets robbed by somebody, and that's it. Like, I mean, I think
I wouldn't lean into any of the social media platforms as like the number one pillar of the business.
I mean, going old school and keeping some of that aspect of what we talk about with collaborations, and you know, the old school nature of that is the people that you collaborate with become your marketers and your referrers. Even when you're not around, it's like, how do people talk about you when you're not even in the room, kind of thing. So making sure that you have those people that match your values and ethics in your business, in your circle. So there's talk about you constantly in the rooms at the right time. You can expect that if someone happens to meet someone, that they can make that connection. It's easy. And that's something that you don't have to pay for. You don't have to put a lot of effort into.
Yeah. Word of mouth will always exist for sure, and probably be one of the strongest methods of getting clients. I think the email list will always remain pretty valuable too, because that is people who have opted in to your content, and you know, the most open to receive audience of what you're saying. So I think that's a really great place to put your focus to.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the Facebook group concept. Like, for the Conscious Collaboration, our collective, it's a great place where we've already filtered out, so that those who are in the group are aware of our content. They vibe with the same type of topics. There's no warm up there. And it's a place where everybody can share and know, okay, people are going to understand me, where I'm coming from, and you know, have those deeper conversations. So I think there's a lot of benefit in creating spaces, virtual spaces for communities that don't require anything.
Facebook groups are awesome, and all the functions that they can do. And it's another place where, you know, these people have opted into hearing what you have to say. It's still kind of at the mercy of whatever happens with social media, and could just, you know, disappear in the blink of an eye for no reason.
Yeah.
So we always have to kind of keep that in mind, and just keep something owned solid, you know. I think that email list, I keep going back to the email list, but keep something owned that doesn't go away with social media should things ever happen.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the concepts of, you know, sticking. If there's hesitance, if anyone feels hesitance in putting themselves out there or using any of these tools as a business owners because it doesn't feel like them, or they think it won't feel like them, is to have an awareness of what other people are doing, to make sure that the content you're putting out there is something that you would do on a normal basis, and have an awareness that things change, trends change, and we grow older and we change, and the way that people like to receive information changes. So having that adaptability and growth mindset to, not get locked into any one thing, but think of it as your energetic imprints doing all the work for you when you're turned off or sleeping.
No, I don't even think you have to spend time on learning trends, you know what I mean? Because they are so fleeting. Get a glimpse at it, get what people are doing. But I think it's almost irrelevant in terms of, okay, if you're really saying that XYZ doesn't feel authentic, so first of all, let's do a little self-check. And is it really that I think this is not authentic, or am I resistant for some other reason? Am I embarrassed, or whatever it is? I don't think anybody cares, or one of those kind of things.
Yeah.
And if it really is the case of, okay, this way of doing it just doesn't feel authentic, then just do something else. Doesn't matter. Just put the content out there. Put yourself out there.
To your point, the imperfect action again, is the best plan. But yeah, so I'd be interested to hear what everyone is facing out there, especially since this has been a hot topic with a lot of my clients lately. And I've heard, and we've discussed coaching through a lot of those challenges, is what are you experiencing in terms of hurdles in putting your energy out there, your business out there, services? I hope that everyone feels comfortable sharing inside of the Conscious Collaboration Collective. It's a closed and private Facebook group.
It's a great place to practice if you are having some of this resistance.
Yeah.
Tell us first.
Yeah, I can practice within there and introduce yourself, put out your, put out what makes you different and unique. And, but I would love to have more of that conversation. If you're listening and this resonates with you, let us know. Thank you for listening to us, supporting us, subscribing and sharing our podcast.
Subscribe so we can be huge influencers.
Oh,
just
yes. Subscribe. Come find us on social media.
Oh yeah, we'll end it with this. Let's see if we can come up with ours. So I know me and you both hate these the most, when people tack on to that. They do this on YouTube. They'll say, "Subscribe if you love Jesus." Subscribe if you love your family.
Yeah,
some like horrible bribe. Like, oh my God.
I was making lunch for the kids the other day, and I heard them listening to something, and it said, "If you love your mom, hit the like button right now," and it's counting down. And I'm like, "What happens when it gets to 0? Am I just going to?"
She explodes.
Implode. Oh my gosh, kids!
So if you don't want mine and Lisa's heads to explode, subscribe on whatever podcast directory you're listening on.
Yes,
right
thank
now.
you. Thank you.
Thank you for saving our lives.
Exactly. 1-800. You can donate $1 a day to make sure we stay alive.
Follow us for more great social media tips.
Influencers.
Hashtag influencers.
All right, Emily. It's been fun as always.
It's been real.
All right. Talk to you in 5.
Talk to you guys in 5.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank y'all so much for listening to our podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends so they can join our circle of collaboration on this journey. You can find us on Instagram at Conscious Collaboration Podcast, on Spotify, iTunes, and Audible, to name a few. Please join us next time for another deep dive into how you can live life in more alignment, mind, body, and business. Send us your questions and comments in our DMs
or email us at consciouscollaborationpodcast@gmail.com. See you in 5 minutes.